Here that we have here in the section, we are ignoring the students. Okay, we're ignoring the students, but maybe we want to ask a couple of things about those students, even though I'm not going to expose that field because it would go into an infinite loop. Nevertheless, right, that value of the students can be loaded into memory, into section, just not converted into JSON. Right, that JSON is basically saying, that JSON ignore is saying, I have the students, here they are, just don't get into trying to loop over them, right, and send them back as JSON. Just don't do that. So what if we wanted to be able to ask questions about the students you just loaded? For instance, we might want to ask things such as, how many students are in that section? Maybe I'm trying to enroll somebody in there, and I want to, there's so many seats that are available, and I don't want to enroll more than the maximum or something. Especially if this is a spring semester and not a fall semester. So what we can do here is that we want to expose a variable, right? That gives us maybe the number of students that there are. So we can say integer, get student count. Yeah, and student count would return the students dot size. Yes, but if I leave it like this, JPA is going to think that this is a field. Right? JPA, it created the field ID, it created the field title. Right? It didn't create the field students because I mapped it as many to many. Right? Meaning it says, ooh, no, this needs to be mapped in a join table elsewhere. Right? So I'm going to leave it alone. Okay. But even though, right, if you ask for me for the students, I'll create an array for you, right? But we said don't do that, please, because you're going to go into this infinite loop. But nevertheless, you have those students loaded. When it gets to student count over here, JPA is going to say, ooh, do you want me to create a student count field in the sections table? That's how it would interpret this, right? That you want to create a field. We don't want to do that, right? Instead, this is a calculated field. It's a virtual field that I want it in JSON, but I don't want it in the database. Okay, just like maybe if I have if I have a student and I want a full name. A full name would be maybe the concatenation of the first name and the last name, right? It would make no sense to store a full name field in the database. It would be a redundant field, right? Introducing maybe inconsistency, where I have to make sure that those three fields match, right? That the first name and the last name, concatenated make up the full name. Instead, full name would be a calculated field, right? That would be loaded at runtime. So to do this, we can annotate this as a transient field. We can annotate it as a transient field saying, don't try to persist this, right? This is something that is calculated and then it's gone, right? It's something that is calculated now. It lives in memory, transient, right? And then it's used to send it back to the client, and then it's gone from memory. Don't store it permanently, transient. Right, so we have that. Let's take a look at if we can retrieve all the sections with the student size as well, the count. Okay, so if we refresh, notice that now we have the in all the sections. Now that we have the student count field, where we have that section 1 has 3 students, and section 1, notice that again here, section 1 also has 3 students, right? It's the same section. I guess Bob is enrolled in the same section twice. We didn't make that a primary key, foreign key, a composite key that needs to be unique. We didn't do that. We could do that as well. And notice that now I can retrieve all the sections as well. Did we do the sections? I forget. Finding all the sections. Yeah, here we have all the sections, and they have the student count as well, right? We could also retrieve the names of the student, but what we would have to do is to copy these students in a transient array, right? To retrieve and copy the names of the students if we want to have like a listing of the students in there for the registrar to see maybe who's enrolled in there, right? But it would be the same thing with transient.